man.
That
I
you
do
said
what I
it's your
do.
job to know exactly what's happening. You know, but I understand why he's not he's apologizing, but we didn't know, but I'm apologizing. So this is what we're dealing with. So let's move on to the next one. On to the next one. Let's take another look. Let's see what else we got here.
World. But one institution stands out for both its global scale and its lasting legacy. The Atlantic slave trade, occurring from the late 15th to the mid-19th century and spanning 3 continents, forcibly brought more than 10 million Africans to the Americas. The impact it would leave affected not only these slaves and their descendants, but the
Let's take a look at this
Africans
next
to
one.
the Americas.
Now,
The
here's the
impact
thing.
it would
Let's,
leave
let me take a
affected
look.
not only these slaves and their
So
descendants.
just to put it in context where we are now, we are talking about reparations. We're talking about who needs to be sued generally. This is the second part of a series we started yesterday where I'm telling you that I'm showing you testimony and historical stuff that you can find on YouTube. All the references are below. I'm helping you shoot down all the arguments that our African brothers didn't know exactly what was going on. Our African brothers and sisters and the kings and the royalty and they didn't know what was happening. They knew exactly what was going on. So they are not innocent. Their hands are not clean. Okay, their hands are not clean in this atrocity. All right, and you need to stop treating them like that. Their hands they were culpable. Period. They are culpable. They are responsible, and they owe us reparations. Also, they have to pay for their part. If you want reparations, you make sure you sue everybody who's responsible. And this is what we're talking about here today. And this may be an uncomfortable conversation for many of you because many of you have these strong held, romanticized views about Africa, and you love Africa, and y'all want to go to the trip home, and you want to go back through the slave castle, the door of no return, and you know, I get it. I understand where you're coming from, and that's fine. But some people don't. But what I think we as Black Americans, those who are descended from the slave plantations in the United States, I think we're entitled to reparations. I think that we're owed reparations by everybody who's supposed to pay, not just the European countries, but also those African countries and companies and families. I think they all owe us money, along with those African Americans who own slaves in the United States and the colonies. I think they all have to pay. Everybody has to pay. Everybody needs to pay. Everybody needs to pay their portion of what they owe for the atrocities committed to Black Americans in the United States. And, you know, if I was from Barbados or Jamaica, or Trinidad, I don't know, Barranquilla, Colombia, I would say, you know, they need to pay those people too. But I'm speaking on behalf of African American descendants of slaves in North America. We want our money. We want to get paid, and I think we, you know, are primed to be the tip of the spear of this thing. We can set this thing off. A few lawsuits in New York City and different places around the United States where these countries and companies have assets, bank accounts, property. We start seizing some property and whatnot. I think we'll fund some more litigation. This is where I'm at. This is what let's create a roadmap. Okay, but let's go ahead and continue watching what we're doing here, and let's get this thing going.
But the economies and histories of large parts of the world. There had been centuries of contact between Europe and Africa via the Mediterranean. But the Atlantic slave trade began in the late 1400s with Portuguese colonies in West Africa and Spanish settlement of the Americas shortly after. The crops grown in the new colonies, sugarcane, tobacco, and cotton, were labor-intensive, and there were not enough settlers or indentured servants to cultivate all the new land. American natives were enslaved, but many died from new diseases, while others effectively resisted. And so, to meet the massive demand for labor, the Europeans looked to Africa. African slavery had existed for centuries in various forms. Some slaves were indentured servants, with a limited term and the chance to buy one's freedom. Others were more like European serfs. In some societies, slaves could be part of a master's family, own land, and even rise to positions of power. But when white captains came offering manufactured goods, weapons, and rum for slaves, African kings and merchants had little reason to hesitate. They viewed the people they sold not as fellow Africans, but criminals, debtors, or prisoners of war from rival tribes.
Isn't that convenient? I'm gonna view you as different, so I can do bad things to you and not feel bad about it. That's what a tyrant does. So it doesn't matter what they viewed you as or what they thought of you. They committed a crime. Okay, period. Crime of unjust enrichment. They stole from you. They stole you. They took all these things from you. So they're responsible for it. But it's interesting. See how they keep coming up with that, oh, but they saw you as different. They saw you as different. This is the problem. They're different. No, that was just your reason. Let's keep listening. Let's keep listening to it.
Selling them, kings enriched their own realms and strengthened them against neighboring enemies. African kingdoms prospered from the slave trade, but meeting the Europeans' massive demand created intense competition. Slavery replaced other criminal sentences, and capturing slaves became a motivation for war rather than its result.
You heard that?
To defend themselves from slave raids, neighboring kingdoms.
Dennis Spurling got the mic on fire.
Black father, I have black son.
Tune in, weekly feeling inspired. From the heart, real talk ignite. Every episode brings the light. Subscribe, hit the like, won't you dare. Share the love, you know it's family. Join us every week, don't be late. Drop some coins in the collection plate. Drop some coins, enjoy the ride. Come say hi, catch the wave, don't pass by. Lifted spirits always inside. In this podcast, joy takes flight. Subscribe, hit the like, won't you dare. Share the love, you know it's fair. Join us every week, don't be late. Drop some coins in the collection plate. Drop some coins.
Donation. I thought it was a
Hey man, I do what I do.
You know that. Your ass class, don't come over here. You tall black women up inside. I don't give a fuck about